My name is Daniel Harper. I'm 34 years old, and before all of this took place, no one would have called me a pastor or a model believer. I was an ordinary guy, a husband, a father, a man who clocked in long hours at a warehouse and counted down to Sunday simply because it was my one day to breathe. Sunday for me wasn't a day set apart for God, it was my reset button. My wife Sarah used to joke about it. She'd say, "Daniel, the only prayer you make on Sunday is before the chicken wings kick off the football game." And she was right. Church was something I did, not something I lived. It had turned into a checklist, not a heartbeat. I told myself I was fine. Attend service, sing the songs, toss something in the offering, shake a few hands and get back to real life. That was my pattern. Faith was a background hum, not the melody of my life. But life has a strange way of shaking you awake when you least expect it. One Sunday afternoon after service ended, a few buddies invited me to join a Sunday challenge, a 5-kilometer obstacle course out by the fields near town. It sounded harmless, just another way to burn energy and laugh together. I'd done a couple before, so I said yes without a second thought. Halfway through the run though, something went horribly wrong. I was climbing a muddy hill when my foot slipped. My chest slammed hard against a hidden rock, knocking the breath right out of me. I tried to laugh it off, waving to my friends that I was fine, but before I could stand, the world started spinning. Then, nothing. I collapsed face first into the dirt. I didn't realize it then, but my heart had stopped. My friends thought I was messing around until my lips turned blue. By the time help arrived, I was gone. That's when I realized I had left my body. I saw everything below me, the panic, the shouts, the hands pressing on my chest. My body looked small and still, lifeless in the mud. But I wasn't afraid. I wasn't even in pain. I felt weightless, pulled upward as though invisible hands were lifting me. The world around me faded, the shouting, the sirens, even the wind. It all dissolved into silence. Then came the light. It wasn't just bright, it was alive. It pulsed with warmth and love, like every good feeling I'd ever known concentrated into one radiant presence. And within that light, I wasn't alone. Someone was walking toward me. I knew him instantly, not because of any picture I'd seen, but because my soul recognized him before my mind could even process it. Jesus. His presence was unlike anything I can describe. It wasn't only holiness, it was tenderness, strength, sorrow, and compassion all at once. I fell to my knees, completely undone. He didn't need to introduce himself. Every part of me knew who stood before me. When his eyes met mine, I didn't feel judgment. I felt grief. Holy grief. He helped me to my feet and spoke, his voice like music that carried truth inside every word. "Daniel," he said, "my people gather in my name every week. But do you know what I see on the day they call mine?" Before I could respond, scenes began to unfold around us. Churches, living rooms, restaurants, stadiums, as if the entire world Sundays were playing before my eyes. "I will show you 6 things my children do on Sundays," he said softly, "things that wound my heart." The first vision opened inside a church. It looked exactly like what I knew. People smiling, greeting each other, exchanging hugs at the doors. The atmosphere was cheerful, buzzing with chatter. At first I thought, this is good. This is fellowship. But then Jesus looked at me and the scene shifted. The sound of laughter grew louder, drowning out the music. People were talking about lunch plans, business meetings, gossiping about others who weren't there. Some were whispering under the pretense of prayer requests. Jesus' face reflected deep sorrow. "My house," he said, "has become a hall of conversation instead of a house of communion. Many come to connect with each other, but not with me." The noise swelled until it completely smothered the worship. Teenagers stared at their phones. Parents murmured about sports scores. Even pastors exchanged small talk about attendance and budgets. And through it all, I felt his heart break. "Do you remember," he asked, "when I overturned the tables in my father's temple because it had been turned into a marketplace? That same spirit thrives again. My people treat my day like a club, not a covenant." His words cut deep. I realized that I, too, had done this, arriving on Sundays more excited to socialize than to meet the living God. The vision deepened. In the corners of the sanctuary stood angels, still, silent, waiting for true worship to rise. But instead of songs from the heart, they heard empty chatter echo off the walls. "Fellowship has its place," Jesus continued, "but it must never replace me. When my people gather, their first love must be me, or their Sunday becomes noise instead of worship." The conviction was overwhelming. I saw how casually I had treated the holiest day of the week. Then he spoke again, his voice filled with sorrow and love. "This is the first thing that breaks my heart. When my people treat my day as a social gathering rather than a sacred meeting. The next vision unfolded before my eyes and Jesus said, "Now I will show you another thing that grieves me deeply." Suddenly I was inside a modern church. The stage lights flashed, the band was playing and people were clapping to the rhythm. The sound was powerful, but something in the atmosphere felt empty, like a hollow echo. I watched as the worship leader kept glancing at the clock. The pastor shifted nervously in his seat, waiting for his turn to preach. I could feel the impatience rising among the congregation. Their hearts whispered the same thing: "Let's get this part over with." Jesus looked at me and his expression was filled with sorrow. "My people rush through worship," he said, "as though I am a chore to be endured, not a king to be adored." The vision zoomed in closer. I saw people singing but not meaning the words. Some were mouthing the lyrics while their minds wandered to lunch plans, emails, and football scores. A few slipped out to the lobby, checking their phones or chatting as the music continued. Then Jesus spoke again, and his words pierced through me like truth wrapped in love. "Worship is not music," he said. "It is love poured out from the heart. But my children treat it like an opening act instead of the reason they came." I turned to see angels again, standing ready to carry the songs upward. But the music began to fade because there was no sincerity behind it. It was beautiful on the surface, but lifeless underneath. I remembered all those Sundays when I had done the same, half singing, glancing at my watch, waiting for the message or the end of service. I thought of how many times I'd mumbled through hymns without realizing who I was singing to. Jesus placed his hand on my shoulder gently and said, "In heaven worship never ends. The angels never tire of glorifying me. But my people, my own, treat my presence like an interruption to their schedule." His eyes were filled with a holy grief that broke me. "This," he said softly, "is the second thing that breaks my heart, when my people rush through worship instead of entering my presence with love." Then the vision shifted again. We were suddenly in my own living room, the TV glowing bright, the smell of barbecue wings filling the air, friends laughing in their jerseys. It was Sunday afternoon football. At first it looked harmless, even wholesome. But then Jesus lifted his hand and I saw beyond my house. Living rooms across the world came into view, men, women, and families glued to screens, shouting, cheering, consumed with passion. The sound of excitement thundered like waves. Jesus looked at me with eyes full of sadness. "Look, Daniel," he said. "See how much passion they give to a game, yet how little they give to me." The conviction hit me like a storm. I remembered all the Sundays I'd spent cheering louder for touchdowns than I ever sang for my Savior. I remembered skipping church or zoning out during sermons because I didn't want to miss the kickoff. The vision changed again. I saw massive stadiums filled to the brim, tens of thousands of people roaring in unison, their arms lifted high, faces full of joy. Then in contrast I saw churches, half empty, people yawning, some slipping out early. "Entertainment," Jesus said, "has stolen the hearts of my people. They wake up early for the things of the world but come late to my house. They give hours to screens but minutes to me." I couldn't even look at him. Shame filled me. I thought of all the times I'd treated the game as sacred and the Savior as optional. He touched my shoulder again and his voice softened. "I don't want to take away their joy," he said. "I gave them laughter, rest, and recreation. But when those things take my place in their hearts, it wounds me deeply." Then he looked right into my soul. "This is the third thing that breaks my heart, when my people exalt entertainment on the day meant to honor me." The next vision appeared before I could even breathe. We were standing once again inside a church. The choir was singing beautifully, the pastor was preaching with passion, and the congregation seemed engaged. But as I looked closer, something felt off, like a performance missing its purpose. Jesus leaned close and whispered, "Don't look with your eyes, Daniel. Look with your spirit." When I did, I understood. Their lips were moving, but their hearts were lifeless. The prayers were memorized. The songs were routine. Offerings were dropped into baskets without gratitude or love. It was religion on autopilot. Jesus' face became heavy with sorrow. "They honor me with their words," he said, "but their hearts remain far from me. They believe the ritual is enough, yet I long for relationship." The scene zoomed in. A businessman sang while planning his next deal. A mother prayed, but her mind wandered to tomorrow's errands. Teenagers recited the Lord's Prayer without knowing what it meant. It was all movement, no meaning. Then I saw angels hovering above, trying to carry the worship upward. But when the words carried no spirit, the sound disintegrated into dust before reaching heaven's throne. It was worship without life. I wept because I remembered the countless Sundays I had done exactly that, stood in a pew, sang the songs, bowed my head, but never truly connected with God. Jesus turned toward me, his voice steady but filled with love. Daniel, I don't want empty words. I don't want performances. I want hearts that beat for me. I want love that overflows into worship. I want connection, not repetition. His eyes met mine and he said, "This is the fourth thing that breaks my heart, when my people offer me ritual instead of relationship." The next moment, the light around us shifted again. Jesus said softly, "Now I'll show you another wound that my church inflicts upon itself." Suddenly, I was standing in the lobby of a church right after Sunday service. People were smiling, shaking hands and saying, "God bless you," but something in their voices felt off. Their smiles didn't reach their eyes. As I listened, the air around us began to change. The pleasant chatter turned sharp. I started to hear what was really being said. Some were whispering about the pastor's choices. Others were complaining about the music being too loud or too modern. And then there were those murmuring about families who weren't there, spreading rumors disguised as concerns. Jesus' face grew heavy with sorrow. "Do you see, Daniel? They sing in unity but speak in division. Their lips worship me in song but wound my body with their words." The vision widened like a wave. I saw congregations all over the world, some arguing about money, others fighting over leadership, entire churches splitting in two because of pride and gossip. And in the shadows behind them, I saw dark figures, not people but shapes, whispering and stirring the chaos. These demonic spirits fed on every cruel word, every sarcastic remark, every judgmental glance. They were celebrating as the body of Christ tore itself apart from the inside. Jesus' voice grew stronger, sorrow mixed with holy anger. "Satan doesn't need to attack from outside," he said. "When my people destroy one another, he sits back and laughs. Every rumor, every harsh word, every argument that breaks fellowship strengthens the enemy's hold." I could feel the pain in his words. Then the scene changed again. I saw his body, not his physical one, but the body of Christ represented as one living being. And where gossip and division spread, the body began to rip itself apart. The hand struck the arm, the eyes turned against the mouth, the heart recoiled from the mind. It was violent and heartbreaking. Tears blurred my vision. Jesus turned to me, his voice trembling with love and sorrow. "This is the fifth thing that breaks my heart, when my people gossip and divide instead of loving and uniting." I wanted to drop to my knees and beg for forgiveness because I had been guilty too. I had judged others, complained about leaders, laughed at rumors, thinking it was harmless. But now I saw it for what it truly was, a wound in his body, a spear in his side all over again. Then the final vision came, the most painful of all. I saw families leaving church, still dressed in their Sunday clothes. They looked happy, chatting as they walked toward their cars. But just a few steps away, sitting on the curb near the church entrance, was a homeless man. His clothes were torn, his face tired. He held out his hand, asking for help. No one even looked at him. Some crossed the street. Others clutched their purses tighter. The ones who did glance at him smiled politely and kept walking. Jesus' expression became almost unbearable to look at, not because of wrath, but because of sorrow too deep for words. "They say they come to worship me," he said softly, "yet they walk past me when I am hungry, thirsty, and in need." The scene shifted again. I saw restaurants packed with churchgoers, tables filled with laughter and expensive meals. And in the same city, single mothers sat alone, cupboards empty. Elderly widows ate crackers for dinner, and children in poor neighborhoods went to bed hungry. Jesus looked at it all and I could feel his grief. "My people fill the churches on Sunday mornings," he said, "but their hands are empty when it comes to serving others. They honor me with words, but ignore me in the faces of the poor." Then I saw something even more devastating. Angels stood above churches, holding bowls of blessings, ready to pour out abundance. But they couldn't. The flow stopped. Not because God lacked mercy, but because his people lacked compassion. The blessings were meant to flow through them, but they were keeping it for themselves. The image hit me hard. I thought of all the times I had driven past someone asking for help, pretending not to see. I thought of the times I'd said, "I'll pray for them," instead of actually helping. Jesus turned to me, his gaze filled with holy sorrow. "This is the sixth thing that breaks my heart, when my people ignore the needy on my day. They gather to worship me, but forget that I dwell among the poor and the broken." Tears poured down my face. Every revelation felt like a mirror showing me how far I had fallen from the love I claimed to have. It wasn't about guilt, it was awakening. For the first time, I truly saw what Jesus valued most. Not perfect attendance or polished sermons, but love expressed through action, compassion, and humility. I fell to my knees, unable to speak, only weeping before him. He reached down and lifted my chin with gentleness that felt like fire and mercy at once. "Daniel," he said, "it's not too late. Go back and tell them. Not with condemnation but with love. Tell them I am not seeking flawless performances, I'm seeking faithful hearts. Tell them my desire is not for perfection but for passion." His eyes burned into me with divine urgency. "Warn them but remind them of my love. Tell them that every Sunday they gather, heaven is watching, longing for hearts that truly see me." I could barely breathe under the weight of it. I realized then that Jesus hadn't shown me these visions to shame the church. He was showing them because he still believes in the church. He still loves his people. He still calls them his bride. And he still longs for them to come back to him with undivided hearts. When the final vision faded, I stood there trembling, surrounded again by that brilliant, living light. My heart felt shattered, not from fear but from the weight of what I had seen. I had witnessed how the very people who claimed to love Jesus were breaking his heart week after week. I looked at him through my tears and whispered, "Lord, what can I possibly do?" His eyes met mine, burning with compassion so deep that it made my soul ache. "Daniel," he said gently, "you must go back. Tell them what I've shown you. Warn my people, not with anger but with love. Let them know I am not seeking perfect performances or flawless rituals. I am seeking hearts that belong to me." Those words carved themselves into me like fire. They were not just instruction, they were a mission. I realized my purpose wasn't just to live differently, it was to speak differently, to share what I had seen. I was meant to remind the church that Sunday was never about routine, it was always about relationship. Then Jesus stepped closer. His light wrapped around me, stronger now but still tender. "Tell them," he said, "that I long to meet them in their worship. Tell them that I am still in their churches, still knocking on their doors, waiting for hearts to open. Tell them to love again. That is all I ask, to love." I nodded, tears streaming down my face. "But Lord," I said, "who will listen? I'm no preacher. I'm just a regular man." He smiled, that kind of smile that held eternity in it, and replied, "You've seen my sorrow. You felt my love. That is enough. Go and I will be with you." And with those words the light began to fade. The silence of heaven gave way to a rushing wind, like I was being pulled backward through time and space. I felt myself falling, away from the light, away from the peace, back toward the noise. Suddenly pain struck me, sharp, heavy and crushing in my chest. I heard distant voices screaming my name. My lungs gasped for air like fire, and then I heard my wife's voice through tears. "He's breathing. Oh my God, he's breathing." My eyes flew open, blinded by the harsh light of the hospital room. The beeping of monitors filled my ears. Doctors and nurses surrounded me, staring in disbelief. I heard one of them whisper, "He was gone," for several minutes. This shouldn't be possible. Then Sarah's hand gripped mine, trembling. "Daniel," she cried, "you came back to me." I couldn't speak at first. My throat felt raw, my mind still caught between heaven and earth. I just whispered, "I saw him." Later, when the doctor returned, he said quietly, "Mr. Harper, your heart stopped for a long time. You shouldn't be awake, let alone speaking. You're a medical miracle." But I knew it wasn't just medicine. I had been sent back. When I returned home days later, nothing looked the same. The sky seemed brighter. The air felt sacred. And Sundays would never be ordinary again. Before, I used to wake up late, rush through breakfast, and drag myself to church half distracted. Now I wake up early, not out of duty but out of joy. I pray with my family before we leave. I step into the sanctuary with awe, aware that the King of Kings is there watching, not with condemnation but with longing for our love. I no longer treat worship as a warm-up. I no longer scroll through my phone during sermons or slip out early to catch the game. I've learned that the real joy of Sunday isn't in escaping the world, it's in meeting the one who made it. And after church, I don't rush home to my couch anymore. Sarah and I began visiting the sick, bringing meals to those in need, checking on widows from our congregation, praying with people who feel forgotten. We realized something powerful. Worship doesn't end at the church door, it begins there. Every act of kindness, every prayer for someone hurting, every meal shared with the lonely, it's all worship too. Now, I see Sundays as sacred invitations, chances to show Jesus our love not only through words but through action. And to everyone who hears my story, this is my message. If you call yourself a follower of Christ, take a hard look at your Sundays. Are they holy or are they hollow? Do they bring joy to his heart or do they grieve him? We've been given one day each week that the world still associates with his name, yet we've filled it with distractions, gossip, noise, and idols. Jesus isn't asking for perfect attendance or flawless behavior. He's asking for devotion, for hearts that truly see Him, love Him, and reflect Him. He's asking us to slow down, to worship from the heart, to love the forgotten, to make His presence our priority, because He is still watching, not with fury but with longing. I died once. I met Him. I saw His tears, and I came back changed. Don't waste your Sundays. Don't offer Him leftovers. Give Him your whole heart, because every Sunday is a chance to love the one who loved you first.